A beautiful day to you listening to 92.3 Nigeria Info. 15 minutes gone past the hour of 3. Welcome to Hard Facts with Kalada Karubatabo. Once again, good afternoon. And it's time for us to start conversations, hard facts conversations here and talk for development. All right, so I've got the big headlines up next. But remember, after the business news that will come top of the hour at the 4 o'clock hour, we will talk about the new security chiefs, the new service chiefs, and then the 5 o'clock we'll talk about policing in River State after the news update at the top of the hour, and that's what we have on the schedule for today. Now to the big headlines. Subsidy. Labour FG set 8 weeks deadline to conclude dialogue. Interesting. Ministerial list. Don't appoint ex-northern governors. APC stakeholders urge Tinubu. The battle continues as to who will become a minister in this dispensation. But to other matters, political matters, Omo-Agege recruited Emefiele to scuttle Tinubu's presidential bid. And this is coming from Delta APC. Is there more than meet the eyes? I'd like to know as well what you think about that. And I've been talking about this a lot. Flood displaced people of Bua Kaani community in Khana LGA River State. Oh, interesting there. And then I've got the final one. Tinubu dissolves boards of FG, parastatals, agencies, institutions, and companies. What about that one as well? All of the real stories to the headlines. All right, let's start with this story on the Vanguard. Subsidy. Labour FG set 8 weeks deadline to conclude dialogue. Now, the story goes like this. Organised Labour and the federal government yesterday agreed on 8-week deadline to trash out all contentious issues and implement the resolutions arising from the demands of Labour. Recall that immediately after President Bola Tinubu announced the removal of petrol subsidy on May 29, Organised Labour threatened to go on strike, alleging that the government did not put in place measures to cushion the effect of the subsidy removal. To avert the strike, the federal government quickly convened a meeting with Labour where demands that were service palliatives were made, and the two parties agreed to meet again on June 19, which was yesterday. At a meeting yesterday, the federal government and the leadership of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC) agreed that all the issues and demands raised should be concluded within 8 weeks. The two parties also set up a presidential steering committee to serve as a clearinghouse in coordinating the technical subcommittees on different items raised. Now, I'm one of those people who like to, give the benefit of a doubt. But hey, 8 weeks. Do you have 8 weeks? Do you think, 8 weeks is too much time, or it's enough time, and it's good enough time, for the tripartite committee to have a conversation on what should be palliative given to the people of Nigeria, given, the subsidies, underline that word, subsidies removal, in Nigeria. 8 weeks. Remember, when they finally come to an agreement at the end of the 8 weeks, that is when they will start putting structures in place to achieve whatever resolution that they arrive at. Interesting. So do you think it was a solid meeting yesterday? Do you think, progress has been made concerning the hardship that Nigerians are feeling as a result of all the subsidy removal when it comes to petrol, subsidy removal when it comes to electricity, which will start by next month, and subsidy removal from foreign exchange? All right, that being said, let's go on to the next one. Still on the Vanguard. Ministerial list. Don't appoint ex-northern governors. APC stakeholders urge Tinubu. The battle's still on, I should say. Still on. All right, the story goes like this on the Vanguard. Stakeholders of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, in the north, under the aegis of Northern Progressives Union, NPU, have asked President Bola Tinubu to resist the temptation of appointing any of the immediate past northern governor as a minister in his cabinet. They particularly zeroed in on the former Jigawa State Governor Mohammed Badaru. The stakeholders, in a statement signed on their behalf by Mohammed Kiyawa yesterday, said the group is making the plea based on the fact that the former governors were all spent forces, failed politicians, and disgruntled leaders who do not fit into today's reality of the present vision of the renewed hope mantra of the present administration. The statement read, "We are the foot soldiers of the APC in this part of the country and therefore making a categorical statement urging Mr. President and the APC as a political party not to entertain the idea of nominating any of the former governors from the region in the incoming cabinet, as they do not have the required capacity and capability to drive the process. Our demand is legitimate and is consequent upon the misdeeds of some of them during the 2023 general elections, where most were moles and fifth columnists used by the opposition parties. In most cases, funds given to them for elections were not touched." While President Tinubu was mobilizing at all levels, the former governor seeking ministerial nomination could not deliver a vote from his area. According to the stakeholders, Jigawa, Yobe, and Zamfara states can be adjudged among the least politically astute states in northern Nigeria and were most likely to move in line with the body language of their key leaders they identified with and not necessarily any other factor. They said in Jigawa State 2023 presidential election, the Adijia Emirate consisting Biniwa, Kirikasama, Guri, Adejia, Malamadori, Kaugama, Ayu, Kafin outside local governments massively voted for APC, owing to the fact that one of them was made APC governorship candidate for the first time ever since the creation of the state. So this guy is saying, see, we don't want a past governor. I'm not even talking about, from way back. Immediate past governors in the northern region should not be appointed as ministers in the cabinet. I know someone like Emefiele comes to mind. Wonderful. I mean, he played, I don't know what role he played actually. I can't even really say what role he played. But I mean, it's a notable figure in the APC. Should he also not get a ministerial position? And then I'm looking, maybe the other divide, the southern part of Nigeria, will be looking at the northern part of Nigeria and be maybe emulating, I do not know. But what do you make of this? Should ex-governors make the ministerial list? As a matter of fact, I want to expand the conversation. Should politicians be the ones appointed as ministers, or would you like to see technicians, technocrats, and people who are skilled in handling issues that bedevil the country called the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Interesting. Now to another political issue. Omo-Agege recruited Emefiele to scuttle Tinubu's presidential bid, and this is coming from Delta APC. As we continue the conversation on the arrest of the former, or would I say suspended CBN boss, more stories, are emerging in the media space, and this one can be found in the Vanguard, and it goes like this. The Delta State chapter of the All Progressives Congress has accused former Deputy Senate President Omo-Agege of being behind the suspended central bank governor Godwin Emefiele's participation in the APC presidential primary to scuttle Asiwaju Bola Tinubu's ambition. The claim was disclosed in a letter written to the president on Monday titled "Attempts by Senator Omo-Agege to scuttle presidential ambition of President Bola Tinubu through recruitment of Mr. Godwin Emefiele, anti-Tinubu campaign stance, and anti-party activities." Wow. Interesting. I guess this is because we're talking ministerial positions. We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, the rest of the headlines.
On your number one talk station,
you get a daily dose of news trends.
Crisis averted in aviation sector after
090306416 is the number. Drop your messages on the headlines that we have reeled out and read the stories already, right? So I was reading Omo-Agege's story where it is written in the Vanguard that he recruited Emefiele during the elections to scuttle Tinubu's presidential bid. Are we going to see many of these revelations? I mean, many more of it as the talk of who will be in the cabinet of the President Tinubu continues. Maybe, I do not know. But then again, I don't know if this also would be connected to the arrest and investigation of, the suspended CBN boss. Like I said, I do not know, but I'm wondering. Maybe it could be, right? Maybe it could be. But what do I know? Let's move on to the next one. Flood displaced people of Khana LGA, River State. This was part of our 6 a.m. Was it 6 a.m.? 12 p.m. I beg your pardon. 12 p.m. bulletin. Flood displaces people of Bua Kaani community in Khana LGA. So I'm just going to quickly go to the bulletin and I'm going to read from the bulletin and then I'm going to play the sound bite of people affected. Flood has displaced the people of Bua Kaani community in Khana local government area, River State. The traditional ruler of the community, Ene Godwin Barikpo Akpere, told our correspondent that the houses were destroyed after yesterday's rainfall. The traditional ruler appealed for urgent help from the government.
Yesterday's one was highly devastating because several houses around the place where the floods passed through low houses with mud houses and some even uncompleted houses. Some were being managed by the people. Many of them have been displaced. The houses, their houses have been flooded, their property destroyed, and some of them have been displaced from where the water had affected them. We don't know what will set in tomorrow because the rain is still coming heavily. It has not even by down to July. We have several of such rains, and so the people have been displaced, and we are asking for interventions by governments, local government especially, to see how we can complete drains we are working on and other drains around the community.
Now, I remember on about 3 occasions I talked about flooding and how it will affect River State in 2023. I want to believe last week we talked about it as well. We had that discourse, and I remember saying the rains are here and we're still arguing about relief material from 2022 flooding or for 2022 flooding. And now Khana local government area is the first place to start crying out about the effects of the 2023 flooding. Some would mud houses, but really, whether you like it or not, people live in there. People lost their houses. Anyhow, I want to look at it. People are already beginning to feel the impact of flooding in 2020. Are we ready? Are we ready? I mean, he made nonsense of the forecast. Okay, I remember when Emefiele was leaving the house. He also raised that discourse, before leaving. Are we ready? And maybe this should be like a warning. This should be like, a wake-up call. The government should wake up and smell the coffee and realize that the rains are here and the floods are coming, except for a miracle, which of course God can do. And begin to prepare and begin to relieve materials for places where we cannot do anything to stop the flooding from coming, so that we don't act like we did in 2022. And you can find this story on where did I see that story again? You can find this story on But while I'm looking for that story, there's another one that has caught my interest, and this should be very important as well. EFCC invites quizzes ex-Benue governor, Autumn. The former governor of Benue State, Samuel Autumn, is currently in the Makurdi custody of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission following an invitation, the Punch reports. Now, Autumn arrived at the Makurdi zonal office of the anti-graft agency located at Alogodon Street at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. Now, the Punch correspondent gathered that the former governor was invited to be questioned concerning an ongoing investigation into alleged financial misappropriation during his time as an official. Former Governor Autumn is currently at our Makurdi zonal office in Benue State. He arrived at about 10 a.m. this morning and he's still there now. He was invited over an ongoing investigation concerning alleged misappropriation of funds during his time in office, an impeccable source said. The spokesperson for the FCC, Wilson Ujaren, didn't respond to phone calls and text messages sent to his phone by the Punch correspondent concerning the development. Interesting there, right? I'm not saying he's guilty. You know what the law says. You know what the Constitution says. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty, irrespective of whatever allegations over the person's head. But I'm of the opinion this should go round. All the recent outgone governors should go in for investigation, especially now that they recently handed the baton over. And my opinion is that they have to investigate them now so that the current leaders will learn from those who are innocent and from those who are guilty. So that you know that if you're innocent, the people will love you, the people will support you. But if you're guilty, you go in for it. The law will catch up with you, and that's how I see it. I should put it that way. That's how I see it. But back to the story that I wanted to give you. You can find that on the Vanguard. Tinubu dissolves boards of FG, parastatals, agencies, institutions, and companies. President Bola Tinubu has dissolved the governing board of all federal government parastatals, agencies, institutions, and government-owned companies. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, who disclosed this in a late Monday statement, said the action was an exercise of the president's constitutional powers and in the public interest. He said that the dissolution does not, however, affect boards, commissions, and councils listed in the Third Schedule, Part 1, Section 153, Subsection I of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic as amended. And I'm just going to do due diligence. I know time is fast spent. And I'll just list out some of the institutions and parastatals that are not affected by the order, the directive of the president. And one such is the Code of Conduct Bureau, Council of State, Federal Character Commission, Federal Civil Service Commission, Federal Judicial Service Commission, Independent National Electoral Commission, National Defense Council, National Economic Council, National Judicial Council, National Population Commission, National Security Council, Nigeria Police Council, Police Service Commission, and Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission. I'm wondering, are you happy about the exemption? Oh, should I say that? No, I shouldn't. What do you make of it? Dissolution, except for the ones, in a particular part of the Constitution, the place where it's called the Third Schedule. I'm going to open the phone lines now, 0817 923 0002. Once again, 0817 923 0002 and 0817 923 0003. We're live on Facebook, Nigeria Info PH, active on Twitter, Nigeria Info PH, and live on YouTube, Nigeria Info PH. Drop your comments, drop your contributions. Remember, we're talking for development. Insults are not allowed. What do you call it now? Attack on someone's image or personality, not allowed. What we want is constructive and not destructive comments, because we are doing nation building, and that's our own responsibility, and that's the role that we play. That being said, to the phone lines, and for WhatsApp, 0809 030 6416. Muriel is calling from Okrika. Muriel, good afternoon to you. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Kalada.
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome. Woman on the line.
Welcome. Let's talk.
Canada, the case of northern governors, I say Ganduje, Hector Grapes, and the truths of the former northern governors are set on edge. And I don't know, Christians one that will relate with that. And when you ask if ex-politicians or ex-governors should be allowed to still serve as ministers, I say yes. But it should be selective. They should select performing those governors that performed very well. You can use them when you know that these people they work and they can deliver for you what you want. There is nothing wrong in using them. Expatriates should be employed too. I think it should be mixed, not just ex-politicians. not just ex-governors. They should be made.
All right.
Then the Bua community, it's a pity.
Right.
I said good luck to NEMA on locating their clients, their survivors of the former flooding. How do they locate them now?
All right.
Good luck to them. How do they locate them and give them their
palliative?
All right,
thank you, Muriel. Thank you very much. I've got Clinton from Bori. Clinton, good afternoon to you. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Kalada.
Yeah, welcome, Clinton.
I will say that a new sheriff is in town.
Okay.
So I'm particularly very excited about the dissolution of these parastatals.
All right.
Especially the NDDC board and the Hyper board.
Okay.
Because this NDC board, I remember when they awarded a project for this East-West Road. Up till now, nothing has been done about it. And money has been released.
But the NDDC,
nobody is giving account.
The NDDC
board, look at Hyper board, for instance, that they're supposed to remediate Ogoni land. We've been hearing billions, millions of naira on the news that they've done water projects, they've done consent of excellence, they've done power project. Where is it cited? Nothing is going on. So I'm very, very happy that the president is very, very swift and he has taken this action. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Clinton. Thank you for that perspective. Ida from Nkoro. Ida from Nkoro. Yes, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Yes, I'm happy with President Tinubu is trying. Particularly the NDC, just like what the last caller said. Yes, I so appreciate. When you are hearing billion, you are not seeing the billion. They talk of Ogoni clean up. They say there is water in Ogoni land. We didn't see anything from Ogoni. I passed through Ogoni to my village. I've never seen any fact that they are working there.
But you've not gone
for him to dissolve all those cabinet, NDDC, police, military, all those things, and to dissolve them, I so love it. And former governors who perform very well should be used as minister.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. I've got one story, remember, one story per person. But for those of you saying NDDC board, not so long ago, that board was sworn into office or appointed into office. Not so long ago. Think about it. Can we really blame them for the non-functionality of or should I use the word non-functionality? But can we really blame them for the low performance according to your ratings? Not my ratings. I don't rate them. I haven't rated them, rather. Can you really blame them for the non-performance or low performance, whichever one suits your arguments? All right, then. Let's go back to messages now. Let's see what messages we've got here. So it says, EFCC invites former governor of Benue State, Mr. Autumn. Is Autumn's wife not a judge? If his wife or his daughter are not judges in any court, he should look for any of his friends whose wives or daughters are judges. Perhaps they will go to the EFCC, a perpetual injunction from arresting, investigating and prosecuting him as far as Benue State is concerned. Hector Christopher. All right, thank you very much. This one says, good evening. Bola Tinubu has sacked all the service chiefs out of federal government agencies and parastatals. That is a wonderful development, but our president should have taken them one after the other to avoid much vacancy from Collins, Wayamu, Ulakwa. And again, I suggest that Mr. President should appoint any past governor as a minister. Right then, thank you very much for your message. I do not understand what you mean by vacancy. This one says, good day, Kalada. Greetings from here. I'm thinking the agreed 8 weeks by Labour is just time to get the first ruling of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, which may be a surprise to all. Just thinking aloud. Ima Otaka in Choban, your conspiracy theory, entirely yours. This one says, I'm not talking about it, I'm sorry. This says, I've given up all Nigerian government and NLC. Ordinary Nigerians are left alone to suffer and bear the brunt of the mistakes we made during election. Mike from Thai. What mistake did you make? This one says, Labour 8 weeks period of negotiations with government is to buy time for Nigerian people anger to calm down. Nothing good will come out of it. Labour is a sellout, DK saying. All right, if you say so. Remember, when you do call in, you're going to talk with my colleague who's going to screen, get your name, get your location, and then part you for me, and then we'll have a conversation. So 0817-923-0002 is the number, the first one. And then the order number is 08179230003. That's the order number. For WhatsApp and text messages, you can use this number 0809 0306416. I'm giving you the big headlines, and I'm wondering what your thoughts are on these headlines. What do you make of Labour's 8 weeks negotiation timeline, saying 8 weeks to get to some final agreement on resolutions and demands made, and also Autumn in EFCC's custody right now. He was invited and he honored the invitation, and I hear he's been interrogated based on certain things that happened during his time as governor. And of course, there's still the fight. Should I call it a fight or should I call it a race? There's still the race to the ministerial positions available in Tinubu's cabinet. And northern APC members have come out to say, hey, don't give it to former governors. Don't do that. All right, I'd like to hear from you. I've got Zion, and Zion is calling from GRA. So let's listen to Zion now. Zion, greetings to you. Good afternoon.
Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Can you hear me, Zion?
Federal government is afraid to deliver.
Okay.
Over palliative and the issues surrounding. I think the federal government is not helping the situation.
How do you mean?
Discussing with only one branch of the Nigerian people. We are talking about the office of the citizens, which Labour is part. Then what about the mechanics? What about other citizens that are not part of the Labour unions? When are you going to talk with them? Are you the governor, the president of Labour unions?
Zion, you must be aware that Labour is not just for public workers or public labor force, but also extends to the private labor force. Oh, I think we're having connection issues now. I think we are, but do call back if you can. But yeah, I mean, we should look that up. Labor is not just for public servants or the public labor force. The activities extend to the private force as well. Think about it. When they fought for minimum wage to get to the point that it is, which is somewhere around the 33,000 region, it was not just for civil servants. Even private entities began paying minimum wage, which is 33,000 or thereabout. Anybody who doesn't pay is breaking the law, is faltering the law, and should be punished. But I've got Obed from Port Harcourt. Obed. Good evening.
Yes, Kalada.
Yeah, good evening. Welcome.
Yes, Kalada. EFCC invited the former Benue governor.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's a welcome development. I think we have to actually go and answer. Honestly, I don't see a situation where a governor, a state, we owe workers with such number of months and the pensioners. You understand? Then at the end of the day, you made up obnoxious law whereby you will be paid and be given a certain number of staff in a certain year. I don't understand the kind of conscience these guys are having in this country. They should actually do the same to see how to quash the law, restraining them from River State so that they can investigate the past government. I think the FCC is not doing River State good. They should be able to see how this law, this court order that is restraining the intervention of
Thank you. What do you make of the big headlines today? First one I did read out was the FG said Omo-Agege recruited to Tinubu's potential the safety of community in Kaluga of G agencies and on the administration of the past president my dad according to this okay says as first a member of G5 some of comfort G letting out the some we had do that please I see what 081109302. You can just call now. Hello, what's your All right, Spieth. Say your name is Spieth. All right, okay.
what I talk about the yeah, I think the people of the region will see I'm looking for what? What do we want this information? Because I want to Steve, currently, we are also the subsidy mover. So I think the federal government is already so that the government have made for the subsidy will do the end of the day.
You've got one. Let's ask a question. You talk about these things out to say it's in deficit. I can't remember. You Google Emefiele and see the CN to be but then he's from Delta State board to be precise, and so maybe they know better than you and I do know. And so they say that former deputy president and the Subsidy works together and that people did not president. Maybe they possibly don't know about. Maybe there's I should really take a control. But we not know. Go back to the NLC and Tuesday. They don't have a mandate of Nigeria to speak and negotiate on behalf. The 9 people organized themselves for that way for the harsh subsidy. Khana LGA. Right, I'm reading you to the fact that you might agree or agree with him on that one. Let's go to see how we have here. Okay. I don't know what today, but let's keep trying and let's keep talking about Devon. I'm going to start 94 Nigerian for calling in. You can line play. What? I know you. Yes, you go ahead.
Okay. Nigeria, no. And there are issues to what before.
Okay.
What they're doing.
All right, I give them much. Nigeria knows what it is doing. I guess I'll use it. Okay, just keep calls coming in. Let's hear what you think. But I'm going to read messages. This one says, I believe a president of Nigeria, including past President Nigeria question, goes solely direct. Call I that one very much. Thank you for your time. Let's take call. Not one. You have to what name?
An anything I'm calling back.
Not from Crown.
What about the former state administration? The government.
All right, quickly, please.
No, police gave offense and the police you fail to wash your back and something is put out and the power in the formative government's army. He failed to his back while in the political affair of it.
Thank you very much. I've got to let you to tag. I've got very much on back. I've got to let you know. Come back to this new more content station.